Hey everybody, you got your coffee cup in hand, ready
I'm
to
ready.
go.
I'm ready.
You always got the coffee cup, and you always got strange coffee cups too.
I
In fact,
do. Well, hey
yeah,
man, we are here.
you,
We are
you're
in
you're
my
prep you're
favorite
prepping for
season.
Halloween. I know you start at Labor Day prepping for Halloween.
We're in a yeah, I started getting some of the decorations out the last week in September. Just the simple stuff, pumpkins and all that. Now we're officially in. I'll today will be it had been up for a week now, get 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, so Luke was starting to paint the pumpkin faces.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go, man. Look, this is the type of year that I don't care what happens. If if work gets in my way, I move it out of the way. If podcasts get in my way, I move it out of the way. Nobody can make me mad this month. I don't even get angry. I just move them out of the way. Get out of my way, you know?
That's right. Well, we also been in a discussion lately about drag shows and all because there's been an ongoing controversy here in Texas about shutting them down, restricting them, banning them, whatever. And I think it stemmed from one incident where somebody, and obviously they went into the drag show to find out what was going on, but there was a minor that was in the drag show and they thought that was terrible. It was inappropriate, and so let's just do away with the drag shows and all. And it's caused a big controversy, and it's not only in the state of Texas but nationwide. They're talking about what's appropriate, what's inappropriate.
It's really interesting to me because when I think about drag shows, and I've been to several, and I hosted one at a nightclub that we had years ago, and it was great. I was the MC of a drag show at a club back in Michigan.
Cool.
Um, I think it was called Stilettos. I have to ask my sister. But we had a good friend of mine that she was doing it, and so I MC'd it. Their MC went, and it was a blast. Here's the thing that I don't understand. First off, Texas is out of control. I'm going to say it. Let's just do it. Let's just dive right in. They
Right.
talk about small government, but they sure are loving big government these days. I think that there is a fine line. When you sit there and you say, we're going to ban drag shows, I think that's completely inappropriate. I think that's an overreach. I think that's ridiculous. I really do. Now, when you sit here and say, children shouldn't go to drag shows, I think you need to be very specific in what you're talking about. Because, yes, I have seen some TikTok videos, I've seen some Twitter stuff. I know some. Those are not the drag shows that are meant for kids. They're very sexual in nature, they're very graphic. But when
Right.
you start talking about banning drag shows, I feel like, number one, it's not like there's drag shows that are just roaming down the street every day showing everybody what's going on. You make that ticket purchase, you choose to go there. If you choose to take your kid, that's on you as a parent. 98.9% of these drag shows, whether you agree with what they're doing or not, there's nothing wrong with them.
That's right. And there are some that will say you must be 18 or 21 in order to get in. If
Right.
there's somebody, it may be one of the performers that doesn't have a place for their kid to go. And so they take their kid and they leave them in the dressing room. Well, yeah, that kid's going to see men dressing up as women or women dressing up as men. There is no way you're going to be able to blanket a ban on everything, because it's like anything else. Number one, it's a form of entertainment. Let's be straight about that. Drag performances are a form of entertainment. They can be lewd, yes, but they usually will let you know up front that this is an X-rated drag show.
Or just like a movie rating, let's be real, they have those. You
Sure.
go see these performers, the Whitney Houstons, the Madonnas, drag queen dressing up as Prince. Those are just what they are. They are drag shows for that entertainment, that Las Vegas style, something that has been going on for years.
That's right. And I'll tell you something. if you have ever seen some of those shows, some of these female impersonators do one hell of a job. I went to one and saw Diana Ross walk out on the stage, and I swear this was at a show in Chicago, a place in Chicago called the Baton Club. Diana Ross walked out on that stage, and Lauren and I looked at each other and could swear that that was Diana Ross.
Sure.
And, I mean, they go to great lengths in order to perfect their performances. And that's what it is. And, now, my question is, are we infringing on their First Amendment rights to express themselves in this way? And it is for entertainment, and they make money doing it. Both the clubs do and the entertainers, but they work hard at their craft.
We are very much infringing on freedom of speech and rights in a very, well, that's why I think it was about 7 days ago, a judge basically overturned Texas's ban, which was supposed to take place September 1st. And they said, you can't differentiate in this language. You cannot differentiate between what is going on here and what's going on here at this show. And there's a temporary block on that right now in Texas. And there should be, because if you read that bill, and I encourage you all that are either for this or against it, to read the whole thing, the language really opens up doors. And it's one of those things, and it happens a lot. It happens in Congress. It happens everywhere. It's one of those things where maybe the language and maybe your alleged intention behind the bill was pure, but the language opens it up for somebody else to take it to the next level. It's the same thing with these book bans and all that. Right. So when you start doing that, that's a dangerous game. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Now, I will say this. I also don't fully understand when we're talking about drag queens. And drag shows and all that. I don't understand this story time with the drag queen story time or whatever that has happened, which, by the way, didn't start till 2015 in San Francisco. I mean, shocker, it's San Francisco.
Right.
It's not like these are popping up in every single school. If you really do your research and not listen to the far right or the far whoever and this and that and the other thing, talk about it. It's not like every school is like, you know what, we're going to have a drag show today and we're going to have a story time. It happened in a public library, mind you. It's their choice.
Right.
You still have to go to it. They're not shoving it down your throat.
Right.
I don't know the big deal with it personally. Like, it's a drag show, it's a drag queen reading stories. Seems kind of weird, seems kind of pointless, but whatever. You still have to go to it. So the fact that they're sitting there saying we got to ban this, why aren't they looking at other stuff that's happening with kids? Why are they so hyper focused on this? Meanwhile, they're allowing their kids to go online, go to every single website, watch every single movie, listen to every single song, but they're hyper focused on this. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, it's like a pick and choose, pick something that's going to have the biggest effect. But, I think we tend to forget that this concept of drag performances goes back to the 1500s.
Yes.
Back to a time when Shakespeare on the Globe Theatre in London, they didn't allow women to perform on stage. It was an all-male cast, but there were female parts. So the males would dress up in the female parts in order to do the plays. This has been going on. Look, La Cage aux Folles is an award-winning play that hit Broadway decades ago. It's still being done. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is released about this time every year. For people to see. That has got female impersonators in the show. We just seem to forget that these are things that some kids are subjected to. Here, I can even share a screen right here.
I think the biggest thing too. Well, I mean, Rocky.
Who's this? Who's that?
I don't know. I can't see it. Stuart's over here trying to be technical again, guys.
Oh, okay. No, I just
the smallest screen in the world.
What
Smallest thing.
I'm posting is Dustin Hoffman as Tootsie.
Yeah, horrible movie, but funny.
And a horrible movie, but the concept was this was a father who wanted to be close to his kids. So what he did was he dressed up as a nanny and to get hired to take care of his own kids without his ex-wife knowing.
Wasn't that Mrs. Doubtfire?
Oh yeah, that you're right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
Tootsie's different.
That's Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah,
That's the
Tootsie's
other
different.
slide I got. That was with
Yeah,
Robin Williams.
Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams. But hey,
Yeah.
let's go one too. Back in the 80s, there was that show about those two guys that lived together and they dressed up as women to go to work because they got the jobs as a woman. Remember that? And it was like a TGIF, watch it every Friday night type thing. You know, like, what are we doing here? Like, we're really like picking. Now, I agree. Some of the clips that I saw from those few, because there's always a group of somebody that ruins it for everybody. There was some nasty stuff going on. These weren't drag. I mean, there was no different than strippers doing it, and there was some nasty stuff going on with children there. At that point, you gotta look at, okay, did you bring your kids there? Number one, did you truly understand what was happening? Number three, I guess, or two, then you take that up with the people that put it on. But let's not sit here and crucify these entertainers and people that make a living and really, quite frankly, just do what they do. If nobody went to these drag shows and there wasn't this just level of entertainment involved, there'd hardly be any drag queens.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with video games. If nobody played video games, there wouldn't be any. So are we just going to start targeting all this stuff and ban it?
Yeah. It's just like television shows, radio shows. If they are offensive to you, you hit the off button. You just don't go. You don't support it, but you don't make it your life's mission to go out and prevent anybody else who, of their own free choice, wants to take advantage of it, or they want to subject their kids to it. As I say, if you go back, it's got to be 40, almost 50 years ago now that Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis were in the movie Some Like It Hot, and they traveled with a women's show, and they dressed up, and they won. I think they both won Academy Awards or some awards for their performances. Everybody thought it was a terrific idea. In today's society, they got people that would say, well, you're going to have to take Some Like It Hot off of the, all-time, super movie list and and ban it. It doesn't make sense. We've got so many choices out there. If you don't like it, don't support it. But
it's really weird. It really takes me back to the days of like, we don't understand it. We don't like it. It must be bad. They must be witches. Let's burn them at the stake. And that's this old world. And I can talk about Texas, but it's not just Texas. That's this old world, really backwards, crazy mentality of like, we don't really like it. We think it's bad and it's not Christian. So we're going to get rid of it. But they don't complain about anything else. They don't do anything about guns. They don't do anything about the education in our school. They don't do anything about the lack of health care we have. They don't do anything about protecting children. They don't care about that. But that's the thing they're going to go at. And it's this closed-minded pilgrim mentality that really bothers me.
Yeah, you are spot on, because if alcohol can cause cirrhosis of the liver, does that mean, okay, well, we just better close every bar and restaurant that serves alcohol because it's not good for you? And you go into that restaurant that does serve alcohol and you go in with your kids, and you sit down and you have a meal. Well, you're subjecting your children to alcohol. Bad. Close down the bar or pull their liquor license. I mean, when does it all stop?
At some point, look, we've got to stop parenting the parents and parenting the kids out there and let the parents do that. And yes, you have to put laws in place and you have to put things in place to protect people. I'm with that. And I'm also with looking at something and saying, okay, um, if you have a show that goes in this nature, then there isn't really anything wrong to saying 18 and up. And there's some of these shows that go in that nature. They're 21 and up. They're at a bar. They're at a club. Like you can't get in if you wanted to. I mean, in my, I'll just say this in Texas, in my 12, almost 13 years of Texas, I haven't seen like a carnival of drag queens openly putting on a show in public and doing disturbing behavior. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So what's the
But
big
you'll
deal?
find neo-Nazi groups out in parks on the weekend and all trying to
Of course.
spread their crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It's gotten out of hand, and again, it is up to the individual. You don't like it, don't support it. If you do like it, why should you be held back?
You
Again,
shouldn't be.
if you look in the paper right now, between now and Halloween, I guarantee you they're going to be they're going to be showing Rocky Horror Picture Show
Of course they are.
on stage, the live performances, as well as replaying the movies in many, many places. You don't like it? Don't buy a ticket and don't
Don't
walk in
go.
the theater. But why keep other people who have followed and loved that show from going and enjoying it? And if it is not age restricted, then let them take their kids.
If that's what they want to do. Look, I'm not going to sit here and judge every parent out there. There are certain things I don't let my kid do that maybe some parents do,
That's right.
vice versa. We all have our limitations. We all make mistakes, and we're all going to screw up our kids anyway. You just gotta. But to have the day I let the government tell me how to parent is the biggest problem I have,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
not going to let the government tell me how to parent or tell me what I should watch and what not watch. I'm just not.
That's right. To expose your kids to a little bit, of everything, makes them a well-rounded individual and gives them the opportunity to make their own decisions as they get older. But to restrict them from everything does not allow the creativity to come out in any child.
Well, I just think you can't play this a la carte game. You can't sit here and say that, drag queens are bad. This is bad for our children. Meanwhile, you could care less about what they watch, what they listen to, what they dive into with some of these video games out there,
Exactly.
what they do on the internet, and you just give it to them. You don't care about that. You don't care about, really how they speak. You don't care about their education. But drag queens, that's the issue.
Right. Yeah. You don't want them to view a drag queen and all, but as you said, they can sit at their keyboard and play video games with Lord knows who is on there. And they're blind to that, but they want to pick their fights.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, for me, like I don't really have desire to go to drag queen shows, not because I'm against it. I've been there, done that. But it's not to say I'll never go again. It might come up one day. I might be like,
Yeah.
you know what? I need to go to a drag queen show. And there might be something fun and I might do it. So I don't need somebody to tell me I can't.
In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, at one of the venues here in Texas, RuPaul is coming with her show.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So what are they going to do? They're going to ban it?
Probably somebody will picket it,
Well, I will tell you that if you ever do go to Las Vegas and all, check it out, because some of these drag shows, they're very, very clean. They're very straightforward. Some of the talent is absolutely incredible. I also was just thinking about every year down in Key West, they have Fantasy Fest. And you want to see a bunch of people dressing up like the other gender for a whole weekend. They do it down there, and it's a festival. And if you want to buy a ticket and fly down to Key West to be a part of it, fine. If you don't.
Well, that's the other thing too. Let's not forget, in a couple of weeks, everybody's going to be dressing up as something anyway, whether it be in gender, whether it be a monster, a clown, a toilet. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. So if your daughter wants to dress up like a clown or something, are you going to say, "Oh no, you can't do that"? That's That's no good.
I mean, I remember one year for Halloween. I think I know I dressed in drag. I was a girl, super uncomfortable, but I like the clothes I wore. I was also a lot skinnier back then, so those my booty shorts were riding. You know what I mean? I was giving everybody a little sneak peek.
You you've thrown away those pictures, haven't you?
No, I'll probably post them. I ain't scared. I think if anybody knows me by now,
There you
there's
go.
nothing that I'm going to get embarrassed about or care about. You know? I mean, do I really look like a guy that cares? You know, like
No, not on this show, especially. So go out now, whatever you want to dress up for this year for Halloween and everything. Just
do
go
it.
for it, and then forward pictures to Trash Talk,
Yeah.
and we'll share them with our audience. Go out and make it a good one. We'll see you again next Tuesday. Bye.